Welcome into Giants Access. My name is Sterling Bennett, and today we have to dive into the Giants free agency plan because former general manager Jim Bowden has revealed the San Francisco Giants as one of the many teams attempting to add a big time reliever to the back end of their bullpen. As we know, coming into the season, San Francisco's bullpen is maybe one of the weakest units on the team. At the deadline, they traded away Camilo Doval and Tyler Rogers, and as the season progressed, although there was some good things happening, there just wasn't much consistency. Then you add in the fact that Ryan Walker had a really long year. He was the closer, the setup guy, the middle relief guy, then the closer again. And Randy Rodriguez will not pitch what seems to be like in 2026. They need to find somebody to hold down the back end of their bullpen, hence why the Giants are one of the teams looking for some big-time relievers, maybe even a high-end closer in this year's MLB free agency class, according to Jim Bowden, as you can see on your screen right here. Jim Bowden says that the following teams are actively involved in the market for a free agent closer, that being the Braves, the Orioles, the Cubs, the Twins, the Dodgers, the Diamondbacks, the Giants, Tigers, Rangers, and Reds. I think it's pretty clear there are three NL West teams involved in that. The Dodgers believe that they don't have the dogs in the back of their bullpen. Tanner Scott wasn't even on their postseason roster, right? So they're going to be vying with some inter-division rivals trying to find a closer, but also a lot of other teams looking for the guy to kind of anchor their bullpen, which I'm not going to lie to you, there are more teams searching for that guy than there is that guy available this offseason. Of course, you have players like Edwin Diaz, who I know there are reports he's like 50-50, might go back to the Mets, but also there's rumors of the Boston Red Sox trying to create some super bullpen with him and Aroldis Chapman. The Dodgers could certainly be involved in there, and maybe even the Seattle Mariners hoping to avoid what happened to them during the ALCS, or even the Blue Jays realizing that Jeff Hoffman might be the eighth inning guy, not the ninth inning lockdown closer they wish that he was. But what does that mean for San Francisco? We've heard reports of Buster Posey and company not really wanting to dip their toe into the top end of free agency, whether it be the outfielders, starting pitchers, whether it be now the closers. The odds would say that the team probably isn't going to want to pay for a high-end closer. It does feel like that position is very volatile. Sometimes it works. Sometimes it backfires. I think San Francisco is one of the few teams that has been snake bitten by paying high-end closers. The first one comes to mind for myself, being a younger Giants fan, albeit I'm 29 now, is Mark Melancon. You signed him. You would thought, oh, this is going to be great. He'll replace Romo and Brian Wilson and Casilla and help carry you into this next hopeful stage of being a competitor. That didn't work out. He was terrible for you. You traded him away a couple of years later and said, oh, that's gone. Thank you very much. But you're still paying that guy on your roster today. The other guy, my dad's one of his least favorite signings ever was Armando Benitez, somebody that I thought, could have made some sense. Giants had the need there, but he came in San Francisco and may have been one of their worst free agent signings of all time. And now we have Buster Posey at the helm of the front office being like, look, do I go all in? We have Randy coming back off injury either this year or next year. Maybe you want to buy a high-end guy now and have him be the closer. Randy comes back and is eased into the bullpen as an eighth inning guy, seventh inning guy, low leverage stuff off Tommy John surgery. Or do you say, I don't want to pay that much money. We have more holes on the infield being second base. If you want to pay Ha-Seong Kim, or you want to go maybe pay Bo Bichette, or I don't know, you want to get crazy and trade for Brandon Lau. There are many moves the Giants, including Buster Posey, have to really kind of pick and choose how they want to spend their money and how they want to break up their funds to help create an overall complete roster. They have the cornerstones in place. How do you build around them? And paying for a high-end closer probably isn't the route to take, and it doesn't seem like they're going to take that route. They're not paying $100 to $80 million to Edwin Diaz for 4 years. Now, maybe you get into the gambit of, will we give Devin Williams 2 years? Will we give maybe one of the lower end closers. I don't know. Let's say somebody like Raisel Iglesias, who's 36 years old. How long does he want to pitch still? I don't know. Maybe Robert Suarez, he's 35. He wants a big contract, but if the market isn't there, can you kind of work him down? Or maybe you pay for Ryan Helsley, who didn't have a great season with the Mets last year after getting traded from the Cardinals, and maybe he wants to rebuild his image for 1 year and kind of be a bridge to getting you back to Randy as your closer. There's a lot to take in. However, I'm going to tell you who I wouldn't sign and who maybe I might target this offseason as free agency builds up and hopefully things can kind of open up for the San Francisco Giants this year. I would not pay for Edwin Diaz. He's 32 years old. He wants way too much money. He would be in that class of, hey, you might get a lockdown, a Aroldis Chapman-like closer throwing 102 miles an hour, or you can get a guy like Armando Benitez and Mark Melancon where you're like, 3 closers we paid for have not worked out. That's big money you want to allocate elsewhere to your roster. Find a veteran outfielder, find a second baseman, and I'd rather use, whether it's $80 million or $100 million, wouldn't you want that to kind of get 3 or 4 bullpen guys and deepen yourself? That way, if somebody goes down or if somebody struggles and doesn't hit like you expect them to, maybe you got some leverage behind him that, if one guy struggles, we have 4 more guys behind him, right? Kind of like a Hydra-like bullpen, if you will. I would stay away from players like Kenley Jansen. He's 38 years old. I think he's probably going to go back to the Dodgers this offseason. I would also probably stay away from Robert Suarez. Again, it depends on what the market value dictates, but if he wants 3-4 years, they're not giving that money or that length of a contract to a guy who's 35 years old. However, there are guys I probably would target. I would classify as the middle tier. And these guys really come down to market value of I want those guys to be Giants. However, I would not be afraid to let them walk if there are better opportunities elsewhere for them in free agency. That would be guys like Ryan Helsley, guys who are 31. They want to bounce back. They want to be a closer elsewhere. I can see Ryan Helsley going to the Royals, get him back in the Midwest. St. Louis and Kansas City aren't too far apart. You can be their closer. I wouldn't really target Devin Williams. I would entertain the idea. I would give him a call. I would start negotiations. Would he want to come to San Francisco? I know the counting numbers weren't great with the Yankees, but the stuff plus was tremendous. It still works. I think getting him out of New York and into an Oracle Park would be a big improvement for him. However, I can see Helsley and Devin Williams sitting back I'm going to take a 1-year deal, bet on myself, and then get bank next offseason. But I can also see those guys wanting to see Edwin Diaz and Suarez sign for, knowing that if they go for big money, we're the next, 1A, 1B following him. Maybe somebody else pays overboard for us and we can bank in on our stock that is currently not super high, but isn't in the dumps just yet. I don't think San Francisco would be wrong to acquire the next couple guys, though. These are 3 guys I think San Francisco really should target to be their closer in 2026. That one being Raisel Iglesias. He's been a closer for a long time. He's the epitome of consistency. But on top of that, he's 36. He's not going to command big money. And he's also not going to be somebody you break your bank for. And he's not going to be a guy you pay for 4 or 5 years. He's going to be a guy who probably wants, maybe double-digit figures, but for 2 years, you don't mind doing that. He can be your 8th inning guy. He can be your 9th inning guy. He'll bring something to the back end of your bullpen you currently don't have, while also not breaking maybe your roster construction or hurting you in regards to luxury tax when it's all said and done. I would also target somebody like Emilio Pagan. I know that maybe some fans are like, really? You want to get a guy that isn't truly a closer, but have him operate as one? I think Pagan is somebody that you can buy low. He's 35 years old. He can give you a high 90s fastball, a hard slider. He's closed before. He's pitched the 8th inning, the 7th inning, the 6th inning. It's just more of another option for you. Get him in San Francisco, a pitcher's ballpark, and I think you might see the best Emilio Pagan you've seen throughout his very, very, very long career thus far. He's a guy who's with the Reds, with the Twins, I think with the A's for a year, or two. Like, he just really knows how to pitch, been around for a long time. And I think the Giants need pitchers. Yeah, they have young guys like Tidwell and Will Bednar's now throwing 100 miles an hour in the minors, and maybe that comes to fruition throughout the year. But they don't really have anybody in that bullpen you can really trust. You have Ryan Walker, who was really inconsistent last year, albeit I would kind of chalk that up to the overusage of him. Tyler Rogers is gone. I'd bring him back too, but I digress. You like Buto. What is he going to bring? He was okay last year. He wasn't great middle of relief guy. Maybe a high leverage guy if someone else is on an off day or needs a day of rest. Sure, but besides that, like Joel Pagero, Reggie Crawford ain't coming up soon. Like, you really don't have anybody else that you can truly trust. Bivens is kind of a 2 or 3 innings guy. It just nobody truly stands out just yet. We don't know what Hayden Birdsong looks like. Is he a starter? Is he a reliever? I'm hoping it is the former. I think he has such good stuff, but if that doesn't pan out, go to the bullpen. We'll see how that thing can happen. But I think getting guys like Pagan, guys can deepen your bullpen, but may not be your closer. However, the one guy, if you were to ask me, Sterling, what's the one dude you are all in on signing this offseason for the San Francisco Giants to save their bullpen, to be their closer for 1 year, 2 years, 3 years? I don't know why this is, but I am not going after any of the high-end guys. I mean, hell, I don't sign Devin Williams. Don't even target him. I would want to be all in on former Tampa Bay Ray closer Peter Fairbanks. He's 31 years old. He turns 32 in December. He's 6'6", 235. He has the extension you want. They just declined his $11 million club option from Tampa Bay. I'd give him a 3-year deal. Guys can last into their age 34 season, age 35 season. Last year with the Rays, he was tremendous. 8.8 Ks per 9, and it's over 60 innings pitched. Didn't walk many guys. Really didn't give up home runs too much. Left 77.5% of his guys on base last season. Had a 45.1% ground ball rate, and also at a 2.83 ERA. Like, the Giants have one of the best infield defenses in baseball, and you have Chapman and Adames, and hopefully Devers can grow, and whether it's Dom Smith or Eldridge, like, that's a guy you want. That can induce ground balls, can get strikeouts, doesn't get up home runs, and where his 1 home run per 9 was in Tampa Bay, in a minor league ballpark, it's going to come down at Oracle. I would be all in on Peter Fairbanks. Long dude, tall dude, extension. He can be a closer for you this year, next year, as Randy kind of works himself back. Or if Randy comes back and isn't fit for that role, Randy becomes your 8th inning guy and shuts things down, which I wouldn't be shocked to think that's probably his best role on your roster anyways. So I know Jim Bowden's saying the Giants are in for a big money closer. They're looking for, roster deepening, rotation, and bullpen depth. And he's saying they want one of the guys. I don't think San Francisco is spending big money on bullpen pieces, but if you were to, I think 3-year deal, 330, 333 for Peter Fairbanks, that didn't sound crazy to me. He wants guaranteed money. Come to San Francisco, lock down the 9th inning, and he's a guy who, if Randy comes back and you want to experiment there, he can go right back to being the 8th inning guy, be the 7th inning guy. I think of what 2021 looked like with when it was Doval and Jake McGee and Tyler Rogers, and they were all mixing and matching. And if you can give Vitello some help in that bullpen where you have the offense to hopefully score some runs with Adames and Devers and Chapman, I do think that, like, good teams can score runs. Good teams also have to be able to lock down wins when their offense scores runs. And although the Giants weren't terrible at that last year, that second half really crushed them. The bullpen was exhausted. They didn't have bodies. You have to find 3 or 4 guys this year. I'd go all in on Peter Fairbanks. I'd bring back Tyler Rogers. I'd also target players, I don't know, maybe like Steven Matz, maybe like a Kyle Finnegan, maybe like a Brad Keller, guys who aren't going to be the biggest free agent signings, but can really help you. Maybe even a Michael Kopech, who with the Dodgers last year, he's got some late inning relief. He's got a big fastball. He was hurt last year too, so maybe that kind of scares Posey away. But You want some lively arms in that pen. Giants have none right now. And I think getting 3 or 4 guys headlined by Peter Fairbanks, you'd be in the, hey, we're gearing up for a run, at least to make the playoffs in 2026. Okay. Tell me down below, which closer do you want San Francisco to sign? Are you saying Sterling? No, 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 no. Go get me the big dog. Are you saying I like this, 3 or 4 guy, bullpen addition, Rogers, Pagan, Keller, go get me Peter Fairbanks, and let's, run this thing back offensively to some degree, albeit maybe one addition or two on the infield or the outfield, depending on what Posey wants to do this offseason. But you deepen that bullpen, like Posey has said, I want to add pitchers. Well, he saw what it was like when they were winning 3 World Series. Yeah, pitching staff was really good at times. You had Lincecum and Bumgarner and Kane and Vogelsong, but he also saw what 2014 was like when the bullpen and Bumgarner, mind you, had to save them in the World Series. Jeremy Affeldt and Javi Lopez and Casilla and Romo and like this Giants run they had under Posey when he was playing from 2010 to 2021, they were nothing without their bullpen. And they were timely hits and they had a good pitching staff for rotation wise, but that 2014 rotation wasn't great towards the end of the year. Snuck in as a wild card and Bumgarner in the bullpen carried them throughout it. I think he realizes, hey, we don't need one dog. We need 2, 3, 4 dogs in that pen. And he knows the value of that. You can have a great bullpen and win 1-score games all year. Like that sounds like you're kind of riding that thin line of like, hey, you're going to make a mistake. But if you got 3 or 4 guys back there, and I know baseball has changed a lot, but a lot of swing and miss in baseball nowadays. You're going to play teams like the Dodgers. You're going to play teams like the D-backs who are probably going to come back this year. The Padres are selling, I guess they want to, but they're going to be competitive. They have Tatis and Machado and Merrill, and those guys are still in place. Bogarts is still in place there. Like you're going to be in a 4-man race for the division and for a wild card spot. You have to have dogs in the pen. And I'm sorry, if your bullpen ain't barking, your team ain't biting. So better go out there and spend some money on your pen. Get 3 or 4 guys and go get me Peter Fairbanks. But am I right? Am I wrong? What do you think that bullpen philosophy should be this offseason for Buster Posey and the rest of the San Francisco Giants in free agency? Are you saying spend, spend, spend? Or are you saying pump the brakes, Sterling? Give me 1 or 2 guys and let's call it a day. Or are you saying, hey, go give me the big dog out of the pen? Tell me down below in the comments and also on the audio podcasting platforms. Leave us that 5-star review. And now I have a bigger question. You can create the roster. You can go add a big name guy. You can go trade for somebody. Oh, that's great. Put that aside for a second. You can have the best roster in baseball. And if you do not have the correct guy leading it, you will not go to a World Series. You will not sniff the playoffs. And I'm not questioning if Tony Vitello is that guy. I don't know. He's a culture builder. He has a knack for connecting with younger guys, and that's all great. He's a leader, right? However, we've yet to truly hear him talk about baseball. And I know part of baseball is relationships. Part of baseball is, how do you connect with the guys in the locker room and the clubhouse? How do you build that together? How do you create a bond? How do you build trust? How do you find a way to make, for a 40-man roster, 27 guys buy in? I think Vitello can do that. However, I have some questions. And it's not because of who Vitello is. It's because of what we haven't heard just yet. Let me ask you a question. It's November 14th, a Friday. Maybe this will change. But as of right now, have you heard Tony Vitello talk about his baseball philosophy, his coaching philosophy? We've heard the relationship stuff. We've heard, I have to earn this. We've heard the, I'm going to build a bond with guys. We've seen and heard him openly say, I'm going to go travel the country and visit guys like Matt Chapman, like Willie Adames, like Rafael Devers, like the young guys on the roster. That's all great. Love it. Love it. You're seeing I'm trying to get these guys bought in now, so it isn't a problem down the road. I don't want to wait for February and January. I want to do it now. Love that. However, In every interview he's done, it's always just that. There's a quote here. It was taken, a couple weeks ago after he got the job. I believe this was on October 30th, so about 2 weeks ago now, and he's talked since then, but it's been similar quotes like this. Will this translate to the major? What is your coaching philosophy? Tony Vitello. And he says to coach guys as individuals. We're all going to work together, he said. The whole goal is to create a bond here between everybody at the top all the way down to whatever you consider the bottom of the depth chart. We're in this together now, whether you like me or not. That's great. That's great. I'm very pro that. How do you coach though? Give me something to kind of sink my teeth into as a coach. You can say you want to build relationships for as important as that is. What's your philosophy? Are you we're going to be aggressive and run the bases hard, and we're going to steal bases, and we're going to try to steal runs, and we're going to bunt, and we're going to move guys over, and we're going to hit sacrifice flies, and home runs are great and all, but we have to be aggressive and steal runs. They made great hires so far. I love Jace Tingler. I love Mentz, the hitting coach now, or who was with Toronto last year, now in San Francisco. However, it just feels like I don't know if it's like a delegation of like that's you're the hitting coach, you'll handle that. You're the pitching coach, you'll handle that. Bochy did the exact same thing, delegating. However, well, yes, a big part of Bochy was relationships, getting guys to buy in. I need you to trust me as I try to press the right buttons and buy in what we're doing here. Fine. What is Tony Vitello's coaching philosophy? We've heard the great things. Oh, Drew Gilbert and the culture building and the energy he brings. Fine. How do you plan? What is I guess the bigger question here is, what is the identity of a Tony Vitello-led Giants team? This ain't college. You're not pulling guys out to left field to take a knee and let's talk. These are 30-year-old men, 35-year-old men. And if you sign Max Scherzer, a 41-year-old guy, right? I want to know what your philosophy is. The Dodgers are, we're going to make high contact rate, and we're going to throw money at you all day with 92 miles an hour sinkers and 98 mile an hour fastballs. And we aren't going to steal a lot of bases. We're going to be a fundamentally sound team that has heavy hitters everywhere that just make contact constantly. Now, more goes into it than that, sure. But take the Yankees. They're not fundamentally sound, but they are the Bronx Bombers, if you will. Home runs all over the place. We're going to make errors. We're going to make mistakes. We're not going to have the greatest pitching staff. We have two guys at the top, and we hope that Garrett Cole comes back. The bullpen is still a mess. We're going to outscore you. We're going to give up runs. We're going to outscore you. We're going to make mistakes. We're going to hit home runs to offset that, right? I don't know what the Giants are under Vitello. Now, we have to see it come to fruition. Even if he told us what it was, I would still say, that remains to be seen when the games begin. And so I'm not being unfair here. I just think I would like to at least hear what the coaching philosophy is outside of relationships. Awesome, dude. That's fine. I can love my boss, but the work life can be shitty. I can love, I've had great bosses. We were the most unproductive young people ever. I've had terrible bosses that yell at you and scream at you, and it's counterproductive. People shut down. I've also had really good bosses where people are energized and they want to come to work and they're happy to be there. And a lot of that is a selfish nature of I want to do good, but you're seeing the production you're putting in place and you're seeing things come to fruition. What is life as a San Francisco Giants player under Tony Vitello like? Is it going to be hunky-dory? We're going to have these hard conversations. And when it's good, we're clapping, we're cheering, we're out there screaming on the base pass, and it's high energy all the time? Or is it, I only focus on that and I let my coaches do their thing? I'm not saying he can't do it. In fact, I think it's the opposite. I'm eagerly hoping he can do it. I just am kind of wondering. Two my own detriment here, I didn't watch much volunteer baseball. I don't usually watch much college baseball. It's not my thing. So I, like most Giants fans, are wanting to hear more, wanting to see more. And I think it'll come. But I think right now in November, albeit it's really early into his hiring, about 2 weeks or so, I'm just kind of like waiting. Like, can you explain to me what the Giants look like under you as the manager? Because all you've said is relationship stuff. All you've said is, I'm going to build bonds. Cool. Do you like bunting? Do you want the team to steal more bases? No one on this team stole more than 16 bases last year. The next guy stole 10. I think only two guys steal double-digit bases last year. Is that going to be a area of improvement you want to see, Vitello? Or is it going to be no? I'm going to let my guys play how they want to play. And I don't hate any of those directions. I just want to know what it is. Because I don't know Tony Vitello. You've heard, Joe Madden say he was insulted by the move because he hasn't earned the right in a way to be the Giants manager or manage in the MLB. And I get the gripe from a certain, perspective, but you heard Ken Rosenthal kind of make it seem like Vitello was like an off the street, gutter hiring by the Giants. I don't think that. I think Posey stuck to his guns of like, this guy feels right. I don't care what 29 other teams say. I don't care what the other 100 executives say. I feel like you're the guy. And I love that from Posey. It makes me believe in what he's going to give us. But I'm just kind of questioning. Like, okay, that's great and all, but can we get a little more insight? Maybe I should go back and watch some Tennessee games. Maybe I'll do that. But I just feel like as a Giants fan, you are hopeful. You are eager to see. This is probably the most optimistic we've been in a while. And that's good because you've had that under Posey, right? You get Posey in there. Oh, we're so optimistic. You sign Adames. Oh my gosh, the optimism is higher. You go trade for Devers. It's out of the building. Oh my goodness, optimism is through the roof. And you end the year bad, and Melvin's kind of a sitting duck, and you fire him, and you bring in this young coach that you hope can be around for 10 plus years, and it works. But while the optimism is super high again of like what 2026 looks like, while we're not going to know until it comes and we witness it, with our own eyes, you would like to hear a little bit more of what his coaching philosophy is, more than just relationships and bonds. And look, maybe there's an interview I have not heard yet. Maybe there is a quote I haven't seen yet. Send it my way. I want to be in the trenches with you guys as well, growing, learning about who Tony Vitello is at the same time. We're all fans here. We all want to see the Giants succeed, but as a fan, and tell me if I'm wrong here, relationships are a big part, but there's a lot more to baseball than that. Some of your best friends can be a really shitty boss, and those guys get fired. Like Gabe Kapler was, I didn't love the guy as a manager at all, but like from all intents and purposes, like wasn't a terrible locker room guy. He got fired for a reason. He wasn't good enough. Bob Melvin, nice guy, kind of, low demeanor, older manager, I may add, but still. But like, things were off. It didn't seem like they were really being led by the manager. It was like, kind of just sitting around. We're all kind of waiting for something to happen, but no, nothing actually is. Where Vitello seems like he'll take more action, but I'm like, give me more. Like, what does it actually look like? I don't want to know more about the relationships you're going to build and meeting guys. I want to know what the baseball on the diamond looks like with you as a manager. And it'll be seen, hopefully, once spring training starts. And maybe he'll answer more questions as the year comes and goes, and as free agency kind of opens up more for the team and whatnot. But what do you think? This isn't a do you like the hire or dislike the hire, but do you want to hear more about what baseball between the white lines looks like from Vitello in 2026 and hopefully beyond? That's what I want to know. What do the Giants look like when the games start? Are you a stealing bases team? Are you an aggressive team? Are you a deep bullpen team that's going to yank starters early and not trust guys? And, is this going to be a Kevin Cash thing, or is it going to be like we are going to be high energy yelling and screaming, and we're going to be academic in our approach, and we're going to be, showboating, and it's fun to watch and all these things? Or is it going to be kind of this laid back, like, I'm going to let my guys do their thing and I'm kind of just going to, calmly be behind the boat, like la di da di da? It doesn't sound like that's how it's going to be, but without us hearing that and us seeing it just yet, so I'm kind of being unfair here from a certain extent, or a certain perspective. So, like, I have to give it time to happen, but I'm just eager, but also, like, I want to know what we're doing when the baseball games start. Tell me down below, do you have those same questions? And tell me down below as well, which bullpen pieces do you want to sign this offseason? Big hitters are Edwin Diaz, Robert Suarez, Ryan Helsley, Devin Williams. Smaller guys, Tyler Rogers, David Robinson, Phil Maton, Emilio Pagan. Do you want to bring Jacob Junis back? How about a Luke Weaver, who was a great Yankee 2 years ago and really struggled last season? Are you all in on guys like Peter Fairbanks? What do you think the Giants should do with their bullpen in 2026? Tell me down below in those comments. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the show. Leave us that 5-star audio podcast review. And yeah, that's all I got for you. So get out of here.